Welcome back to the Pick 199 podcast, episode 66. I'm here with Muzzy,
Hey,
Totsy,
Hey, boys.
and Snakeo Big P.
Top.
Very good. This week we've got some news and we've got some results from the NFL. We do apologise for not putting out a pod last week. We had audio and technical issues. So we'll get back on the horse this week and get stuck into it. Without further ado, jump straight in. We had the end of the F1 season last night with Max Verstappen coming out on top on the very last lap.
what a dirty cheat.
No, shut your mouth. you little Lewis Hamilton suck boy. It was a great race, and it was one of the best races of the year by far. And look, no, the way it ended isn't how anyone wants to win it, or lose the championship, I should say. But it is what it is. So the controversy was surrounded by, started with Max Verstappen taking a dive on the inside on the first lap. Hamilton got an advantage by driving on the outside off the track. So that was the first incident. And then the last incident was the very last lap. We had the second last lap, we had the cars behind the safety car. And usually they let the other cars through to unlap themselves. But what they did in this instance was only let the next 5 behind Hamilton and Verstappen. So cars like 5 through to 10 were let through, but then the rest of them were held back so the others could race. So Hamilton and Verstappen could race, which is odd, but it is what it is. Max came out on top on fresher, quicker tyres and got the dub. So good win for Max. Heartbreaking for Lewis Hamilton. And to be fair to him, although I don't really like him as a person usually, he's come out and he's been a real sportsman about it and just sort of moved on.
I think even after the race, he was very cordial and very supportive of Max,
yes.
And I think he understands how important it is for Max. I think he really sees the bigger picture already.
Absolutely.
Which it doesn't represent the thoughts of the Mercedes team necessarily, and with their protests and stuff. I mean, obviously they're going to protest, but his fans and stuff that have come out in support and trying to get the role reversed. I mean, Lewis is a big enough man to see how important this is for Max, and that it shouldn't be overshadowed by that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's tipped his
He's
hat.
a true champion.
Yeah.
True
In this instance, he's really shown that sort of true champion coming out. I can't believe how hard, I couldn't even fathom how hard that'd be to go up to your biggest competitor, one that you've had really dangerous incidents with throughout the year, and sort of just be like, well, realistically you won sort of fair and square. But is that like I said, it's probably not the ideal way to win or lose the championship, but what's done is done, and it is what it is. So congratulations to Max. And I think for the bigger picture for next year, though, I think Lewis is just thinking about, well, there's nothing I can do about it. Let's just continue on this run for next year.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and with that, Mercedes won their 8th straight constructor title. So congratulations to them. And it can't be understated how well Sergio Perez drove for Red Bull last night as well in terms of team effort. So in the middle of the race, Sergio stayed out to sort of slow up Hamilton, who was flying behind him. And within that, Sergio's so there was a 10-second gap between Hamilton and Verstappen. Shaved that down to 1 by staying in front of Hamilton and slowing him up on slow corners. So played the team game. Unfortunately for Sergio, he had to retire with a dodgy car. So yeah, but great F1 season, one of the best we've had in a while, most competitive we've had in a while too. I don't think we've had a competitive F1 championship like this since 2016 when it came down to the last race between Hamilton and Rosberg. So, no, it's a very, very good, very good for the sport, and it's good to have cars that are competitive against each other. So, and with that, we'll move on. But good win for Max, good win for Red Bull, and yeah, it's good for the sport. Moving on, we had the Ashes first test last week with Australia coming out on top, winning by 9 wickets. It didn't reflect on how dominant it was in the end, but man, great start for the Aussies.
Day 4, 9-wicket victory. Slight fight back from England, but it didn't mean anything in the end. Australia's pace attack is just dominant. I think it's the best bowling attack in the world, and I think it's the best bowling attack we've had in the world for about 5 years. It was unstoppable, really. Simplest way of putting it. I think they got the team right. There was talk about leaving Stark out. No, pick him. That combination has never lost an Ashes test, a bowling attack. So, which is going to play major effects coming into the next game because there are going to be changes.
Yeah, I was about to say it hasn't lost an Ashes test in Australia.
No, that bowling attack as a foursome have never lost an Ashes.
Really?
The Ashes tests that we lost in England, one of them, Hazelwood, was out and they picked Pattinson. So that combination is 6 from 6.
Wow.
That's a tweet from Sam Ferris the other day. So
yeah,
it was a tremendous effort. Yeah.
Hang on, I'll just pull up the
saying that combination will not be the same for the Adelaide Test, which starts Thursday. Joshy Hazelwood's done a side strain, so that's disastrous for the Australian attack.
He's been probably
there it is. Australia's the biggest difference was Travis Heads.
Yeah, he's been one
Joshy Hazelwood.
He's been one of the best players. How big of a blow do you think that leads to us making this a lot closer in the second test?
I think
a huge hold
in
terms of consistency
massive.
and the amount of pressure that Hazelwood brings with his bowling. He doesn't always get the wickets, but man, he creates that much pressure that it makes it so much easier for the bowlers at the other end to come in and nip a few. And we saw that. I think that was a prime example. First innings when Paddy Cummins got 5 for, but honestly, Hazelwood deserved at least 4 or 5 in either innings. Consistent line of length is very underrated.
100%. He sort of really allows for, Stark normally goes for runs, but because Josh doesn't go for anything, it allows you to be more attacking in your other options.
Yeah, exactly.
So without him, it's going to be quite different. The best thing is we've got ready-made test bowlers. They're just not, I think Josh is number 6 in the world. He's definitely top 10. So it's hard to replace someone like that. And who they pick it's going to be interesting. But we've got other issues as well because Dave Warner looks like he could be out for the next test.
Yeah.
So I'd look to see if he doesn't play, that'll mean Usman Khawaja will come in, probably open. It's good to see that Travis Head sort of sewed up that 5 spot for this summer anyway. That 152 was incredible, and it was the difference in the first test. So
absolutely
tremendous knock.
Leading into this test, there was calls for him to not even be in the side.
Yeah, so it was a 50-50 call on him and Uzi. And I'm always a Trav Head fan. I'm a massive supporter of Trav, and I'm glad to see that paid off because it was the difference in the end. So
Absolutely. Well, in saying that, who do you bring in for Hazelwood, and who do you bring in for Warner?
I'm bringing Uzi in to replace Warner if he doesn't play.
Yep.
Usman Khawaja, he scored runs at the top of the order. He averages 40 in Test cricket. So I think he can do a job there quite easily. Jai Richardson will be the one to come in for Hazelwood. I think he's the future of the Australian bowling attack.
So you're not
he's
going to
quick.
take a risk on a slightly better swing bowler in Nisa?
I think Nice will be hard done by to miss out. I think he took 5 for in the Australia A game.
Yeah.
I think he took 7 for the match. But I think Jai is probably the pick. He swings the ball and he's also a lot faster.
Yep.
Where like Cam Green can do a similar job to what Nisa will do.
Yep.
Like he's probably there more accurate, but I know Cam Green's bowling probably allows you to pick someone more attacking.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I go with Richardson.
Yeah, fair call.
And also I just like his attitude. I like how aggressive he is.
He's aggressive, and he's got a very similar, like we've talked about it before, I think even in the last cricket special that we did last year, that he's got a very similar style to Dale Steyn in terms of his bowling action. And Jimmy Anderson as well, like very much a flick of the wrist.
And there's worse people you can style yourself off than Dale Steyn.
Yeah, exactly.
I seen a stat the other day, which is quite crazy. For those people that aren't super into cricket, Dale Steyn spent more weeks as the world #1 bowler than Federer spent at the top of the tennis rankings.
Yes.
We all know how dominant Federer's been. So Dale Steyn spent more weeks at #1. So it's a bit of a crazy stat, but
So who we got,
people
boys,
you can
in the second test?
shape yourself after anyway.
Who do we have in the second test? Who's winning it?
I think we'll get the biggies. Like I think it's the pressure will be on Australia though too, like in terms of filling those spots that are that we have to fill.
Closer.
And we also have, and
Yeah.
England also have Jimmy Anderson and Drew Broad to come back in as well, who are by far England's best bowlers of the last 10 years. So yeah, so England have Jimmy Anderson and Stewie Broad to come back in, and like that they'll be their experience in that test. Pardon?
They're their best bowlers ever.
Yeah.
In terms of wickets.
Well, yeah, but like you know what I mean. Like even the last 10 years, they've been so dominant, and so that'll be huge, especially in day-night tests. Like that'll suit Jimmy Anderson's bowling really well. Like bowling late, like in that dusk period where it starts to swing a bit more. So
the pink ball moves more too. So England have circled the Adelaide test if they're going to win one. Well, now that the 5th test has changed, it'll help them as well. But Adelaide's the one that they're really targeting because it suits them the best.
Yeah.
And now the 5th test has moved to Tasmania. Now it's at the Hobart. It'll suit them as well. But Australia will win, but it's going to be the closest of all the games.
Yeah. It should be. Providing that England turn. But yes.
Yeah.
No, very good. Yeah. And with that, we'll move on. So good wrap up of the cricket and a good preview. We'll move on to the UFC that happened on the weekend. So we had UFC 269, and wow, this was an absolute crazy card. Like I couldn't believe how some of these results came out. So we'll start with our boy Bam Bam. Tai Tuivasa getting the big knockout win over Augusto Sakai. Man, is there anything better than seeing like a full-on Eshe just like go nuts? Give me the shoey, give me the beer, put it in the shoe, let's do it.
What did he walk out to? Was it Barbie Girl?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was
It
at
was
Barbie Girl.
I'm sure it was Aqua's Barbie Girl. It was.
Yeah, he's a
You better be
character.
able to
Man.
throw punches if you're walking into that.
Yeah, but like this, I think he's on a little bit of a run at the minute too, like in terms of wins. So he's getting back into it. He's looking really good. That was a really good win for him, and yeah, it'll be good to see him back again. I think he called out John Jones as well after this fight.
Yeah.
He's like, I want John Jones. Let's do it. It was like, could you imagine? But yeah,
It'll be
no.
an
Anyway,
interesting fight style.
yeah, it would just full on. Like he would just go in full on. So that might suit John Jones a bit more. But anyway, we'll move on. We had Dominic Cruz getting the win over Pedro Munoz. It's good to see Dominic Cruz back in the winner's circle. He's sort of been in and out of fighting with commentary. Like it's sort of whether or not he's got one foot out the door, he still wants to like have one more push in that bantamweight arena. Josh Emmett got the decision win over Dan Ige. Moving on to the main card where it started to get real interesting, boys. Here we go. Sugar Sean O'Malley getting the knockout or technical knockout win over Ryan Paver. Sugar Sean is looking really good again. And then local, we'll call him local boy. Hey?
I'm with Sugar. He's undefeated. He's the real deal. I love Sugar.
Yeah. Well, he technically he's got a loss there, but
he's undefeated, mate. Just ask him. He's undefeated. Ask him.
He got defeated by his own body in that loss.
Yeah.
We had a huge result we'll call him a local boy. We like to consider the Kiwi boys our own.
Yeah.
Kai Kara France getting the knockout win over Cody Garbrandt and absolutely demolishing him. Like it was like Cody hasn't been the same since he lost that title fight against TJ. It's hard to see where Cody's going to come back to, whether or not he does. Like he's a consummate professional, but look, I don't know. I don't know whether or not his time's up in the UFC. But not in the UFC, but like whether or not he should start really thinking about life after fighting.
I think he might need a weight change. I think just something to refresh his hunger. Not that I'm saying that he's not hungry, but I think just to get him back into some sort of fighting form and get him back in that that extra little bit of confidence. Because I think if he does change weight classes, it'll give him a little bit more confidence. Because everybody will be telling me, "No, it'll be different. It'll be different. It'll be different." And I think he needs that at the moment.
Mm. But do you reckon he should?
He goes up a weight class.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think
I think
if he goes up to bantamweight or.
Yeah.
I reckon he should go up. I don't think he should go down. I think he's a big flyweight.
Yeah.
I think he can go up if need be, and I think he can prep for that. And speaking of going up, anyone see photos of Conor McGregor?
Whew. Boys looking thick with 3 C's.
He'll be back to fighting heavyweight boys at this rate.
Yeah, he's coming back for that heavyweight division, boys.
Yeah. He wants that John Jones
fight. If he come back and fought heavyweight.
Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised. He'd come back and fight middleweight.
Yeah,
because he'll want he'd want
crazy.
that easy fight, I reckon.
He looks big.
Yeah, looks yoked.
He looks chicken big. He doesn't fight big.
He's been getting Dave's contacts for steroids. Nothing. Righto.
Good banter.
Good banter. I don't laugh at shit jokes.
Mate,
better one.
Just trying to get you involved. Moving on, we had Jeff Neal getting the decision win over Santiago Ponzinibbio. Santiago Ponzi. Let's just say that. And then we'll move on to probably one of the biggest upsets of the year. We had Juliana Pena getting the submission win over Amanda Nunes.
He dominated her too.
It was insane, considering how dominant Amanda's been the last 3 years. Like there was no one left in that division to fight her.
No, and she had a game plan, Pena, and she come out and she executed it. She did exactly what she said she was going to.
Yeah.
Like, it was impressive.
I couldn't believe it. Like when we saw it, like I was just like, nah, surely that's not right. But it's probably similar in a similar vein to when Nate Diaz choked out Conor McGregor too in that first fight. So like just it didn't come out of nowhere, but like this was a much more definite game plan. But still, the shock of someone that's been up there so long that they could get submitted like that.
Yeah, well, it just brought back remnants of the Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, 100%, Mars.
Do you think this? I think this loss will just spur Amanda on though too. Surely, like
unless she's looking for a way out. I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
I just don't think she's been challenged for so long.
Mm.
Like, it'd be hard not to get complacent at some level. But I'd love her to come out, win the belt, then retire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like win it back and then.
Yeah, win it back and then just say that was my last fight. Thanks.
Yeah.
Walk out.
Isn't that what Misha Tate's doing again? Like, didn't she come out of retirement again to fight?
Yeah, but then didn't she get her head bashed in by about 5 different people? So.
No, I'm not sure. I don't think she's had a fight yet, but.
Yeah, right. I thought I seen her have a fight not long ago. I think she got done. But
yeah. Oh, that might have been when she said, "Oh, yeah, I'm done," the first time around.
Yeah, it might have been.
But yeah.
She's been fighting for a long time.
Yeah. We'll move on. We had Charles Oliveira getting the submission win over Dustin Poirier. This one I wasn't too surprised at. Like, I know Dustin's been on a good win streak at the minute, and he was doing really well. Like, when the fight was on the feet, like he was dominating Charles.
Yeah.
But once it got to the ground, there was just a different level of two like chalk and cheese on the ground. Like Oliveira had him wrapped up like a python.
Yeah.
Like there was no way Dustin was going to win when the game was on the ground. So good win for Charles Oliveira. And I'm not sure that. Yeah. No, very good. Well, that's the wrap up of UFC 269. And we'll jump across to the NFL. So before we start the NFL results, we had Demaryius Thomas dying at age 33, former Pro Bowl player for Denver. I believe that when Denver went out to play today, they only started with 10 players on the field just to hold that spot there for in memoriam of Demaryius Thomas. So good play by them to start the match, but unfortunate news coming out of Denver. And with that, we'll jump across to the NFL results for the past week. So we had the Steelers losing to the Vikings. Oh, what a way to start, eh, Muzzy?
Yeah. Great. After our bounce back last week, we had a good win. And then this week, I think I'm just a broken record at this stage. I'm sure we'll finish with a decent record, and everybody will just pretend everything's okay. Which obviously I like. If anyone who bothered to have a decent look at it, they would say that it's not okay. But apparently, everybody just wants to live off that. But I understand, people want to save their jobs. Lots of other things working in throughout that. But look, it's as a fan, it's obviously going to be super disappointing.
Yeah, of course.
And can't be ideal.
No, and then getting beaten by the run of the Vikings, because obviously they don't have much of a throw on them. Getting beaten by their run is just disappointing. Zero rush defense was good.
Yeah, well, and especially when they're both sort of in similar positions too, like in terms of win-loss record. So, Important win for Vikings to to try and nab that wild card spot. So
I think they've got a bit of a better division, so it'll be
Yeah.
easy for them to creep in,
Mm.
obviously in through. So
no, very good. Moving on, we had the Dallas Cowboys getting the 27-20 win over the Washington football team. I keep going to call them the Washington Redskins or whatever they were. Important win for Cowboys in that run into the playoffs. Like we've talked about before, we know Washington isn't great, but they do have the ability to win a game here and there. So good win for the Cowboys.
Yeah, 6 and 7 is not the worst record, especially for Washington. I reckon at the start of the year they would have definitely taken that. So they've been better. But yeah, important win for the Cowboys, division rivals, and like same division and everything. So the Cowboys are on a bit of cruise control at the minute. They've got a pretty good record. And they look the goods.
Absolutely. Moving on, we had the Titans getting the 20-0 win over the Jags. Tough loss for the Jags again. I think they're just sort of coasting through to that red line that's at the end of the season for them. Important win for the Titans, obviously, in their run to the playoffs as well. Seahawks finally get a win, 33 points to 13 over Houston. I mean, Houston's nothing to sort of chalk up a win about, but a win's a win.
Yeah.
The Chiefs finally pulling out a big win, 48 points to 9 over the Raiders. Chiefs looking much more like the playoff team that we've seen in the last few years. And we also had the Saints getting a 30 points to 9 win over the Jets. So important win for them as well in terms of that division that they're in.
shout out to the Chiefs too. I think since we put them on blast, I think what was it 3 weeks ago? I think now it's been like 3 games in a row where they've allowed under 10 points.
Yeah. No.
Absolutely. And like I think it was 2 weeks ago when they did have that close win. It was like 18 points to 7 or something, or 18 points to 8.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So good win for them to finally start getting that offense into gear.
Yeah. And their numbers now for the year look they look super competitive against the best teams that we've been talking about all year. You know what I mean? Like we've been talking the Titans up and the Cowboys. They've all of a sudden got the same record. So they're going to be super competitive.
Absolutely. And like I said before, Saints getting a 30 points to 9 win over the Jets. Jets looking for that tank draft. Looking for that number 1 pick, and losing like that will get you close.
It'll help.
Moving on, we had the Falcons. Yeah, we finally got a win. 29 points to 21 over the Carolina Panthers. We've been struggling. Good win for us. Still not great though. So it is what it is. Good win for us. I'll take it. Cleveland get out the big win against Baltimore, 24 points to 22. This has sort of been like the way of the Browns this year. When they win those big games, they win by 2 or 3 points, and not much difference in terms of in their wins. So
great divisional rival game there.
Yeah.
Really showed out
those two.
the top 2 teams sort of in that division, along with obviously the Patriots. But yeah, looks really good.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, to see how tough that division is at the minute too. Like, when at the start of the year we didn't think the Patriots were going to be anywhere near where they are at the minute. So yeah, important win for the Browns in terms of playoff run coming up. So with that, we'll move on. Chargers getting 37 points to 21 win over the New York Giants. Giants looking good, hey Cox?
Oh, mate, it always looks good in New York. I'll tell you what. Fancy a city having 2 teams and they both just suck.
Every sport they play.
I was about to say, and all that money behind them still can't survive.
Yeah.
The basketball teams are doing good, Coxie.
Oh yeah, I mean that's all they got at the moment.
All I'll say about
what was that, mate?
Well, I was about to say, for the city that never sleeps, they sure are sleepwalking through this competition at the minute.
I'll tell you what. The only thing I will say is just is choose a better football team.
Well,
That's all I'll say, boys. Actually, question for you, lads. If you were to like say you're getting into the NFL today, what team would you decide to support?
Buffalo.
The Bills.
Buffalo's a good call.
I love
that's
the
a good call
Bills.
too.
And I love this. I always pick my teams off stories. And I love that run through the 90s they had where they lost everything.
Yeah.
So I love stories. So I'd go the Bills.
Yeah.
I'd say I might have to go someone like maybe the Ravens, young quarterback,
Yeah.
super explosive, exciting team to watch. I know I shouldn't say that they're a division rival and the rest, but no, I think they're an exciting team. Same with Dallas. As a come up, America's team is finally coming back.
Mm.
Well, to back off that, backing your division rivals, I'd probably almost say New Orleans Saints too. Like I've got a little spot for them in my heart, but yeah. What about
You
you,
looking for
Coxie?
ideas, Coxie?
Oh yeah, like I did so well picking the Giants. I just thought, I might get some ideas off the boys tonight and see what.
But you picked them at the right time when you did.
Oh, no, even then they sucked when I picked them. I don't know what I was doing. In hindsight, I should have just went for Detroit. Would have probably been a bit less painful.
I thought you were about to say Patriots, mate.
At least you know they're going to suck.
Yeah, well, that's it. Patriots would be a good pick, I reckon.
Now that they're rebuilding, yeah. I
Yeah.
think so. Moving on, we had the Broncos getting the 38 points to 10 win over the Detroit Lions. Easy win for Denver. Just more pain for Detroit. San Francisco 49ers take it out in a tight one against the Bengals, 26 points to 23. Stopping that sort of run that the Bengals were on. So, and it was an important win for 49ers in terms of their division as well. So that went to overtime as well. So good win for the 49ers. Another overtime game, Buccaneers get the 33 points to 27 win over the Bills. TB12 just still doing TB12 things.
Yeah, Hail Mary to end the game was like 58 yards or something.
Yeah.
The PTSD I got out of that final throw just triggered me, and I cried in the corner for a half hour.
Oh, still one of the best days of my life.
Moving on, we had the Green Bay Packers busting out a 45 points to 30 win over the Bears. If you're a Packers fan, are you worried about that defense letting 30 points in?
I am, because it was the Bears.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball.
Defense wins titles. Offense wins games. So I look at it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you keep winning the games, you win the title, surely.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. You can win the battle, but so you put it this way: offense wins the battle, defense wins the war.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, but I honestly don't think the Packers really give a shit at the moment.
I'm sure they don't, but I think letting 30 points in by the Bears, I think is like a little hurdle that they now need to go look at in terms of what they do from here on out.
I think it's the kick in the backside they need.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement in terms of that ideal. So,
are those? Can I just say, are those so Packers and Buccaneers? Are they the two standout teams that will progress from either side? They're both 10-3. I think the only one with 10 wins is the Cardinals. I think the Patriots have 9. A couple of other teams have 9, but I think they're the only ones in Cardinals that have 10 wins.
I wouldn't want to be coming up against Kansas City.
Yeah, so they're 9-4.
Right. Yeah.
and that's the thing. And like Buccaneers have the ability to drop a couple of games here and there, but it'll be interesting to see in the following weeks, like what happens. So,
yeah. It's going to
very
be
good.
interesting anyway.
Yeah.
That second week of the playoffs, it's going to be very interesting.
Mm.
See
Even
where
first
everyone
week,
lands.
it's going to be interesting to see like what wildcard teams are getting through and
Yeah.
how they can shake up the playoff system. So
I think there's 5-6 teams that I'm like, I think there's only 6 teams that can win it, but I get to the second week, I think it's going to make it very interesting.
absolutely,
Who we got, boys? Rams or Cardinals?
I think Cardinals.
I don't know. You go
I'll go
Rams.
Rams for this one.
What about you, Muzzy?
I'll go Cardinals, make it even 50-50 split.
Yeah, I
Put a
think
hot sauce on it.
Rams have just been that little bit more inconsistent in terms of their play, but I mean, they have the ability to play against offensive teams pretty well too. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see the result of that. But
I feel like I'm just not sold on the Rams yet.
I'm a bit
Neither
the
am I.
same. Like, I know that they probably have the ability to, but I just don't think they've quite clicked yet.
Yeah, they should be
They
doing
always
better
get
with
up
their
for big
personnel.
games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, with that wraps up episode 66 of the Pick 199 podcast. We welcome. Thank you for sticking around and listening, and like, comment, and subscribe down below. Catch you later, guys.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.